Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. CF Benchmarks announced that it is adding the market data of LMAX Digital to some of its most liquid and referenced benchmarks. Sui Chung, CEO of CF Benchmarks, joins us to discuss. Sui, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thank you for having me, Jill. Great to see you.
What's the significance of this announcement?
Well, it's a pretty significant announcement from ourselves. This is the first exchange to be added as a constituent exchange by CF Benchmarks since the addition of Gemini in 2019. So the first exchange for 2.5 years to be added and making our benchmarks ever more liquid, ever more representative, so that traders and investors in the products that are settled by our benchmarks, such as the Bitcoin dollar futures and options complex on the CME, listed on the CME, investors in those can have the utmost confidence that they are getting a true benchmark price to settle their trades.
What does this mean for the industry overall as we think about institutional adoption?
That's a good question, Jill, because LMAX Digital is a little different from the crypto exchanges that have been formed the backbone of the CF Benchmarks constituent exchange list. Exchanges such as Kraken, Coinbase, Gemini. These exchanges, these crypto exchanges, are what we would term all meets all markets. So they have consumer participants, institutional participants. But LMAX Digital, interestingly, is a pure play institutional only marketplace. And it's the first such marketplace that we have incorporated into our constituent exchange list. And I think is evidence of the increasing role that institutions are playing in formation of pricing in crypto and the volumes that we see running through the market overall.
And so sticking with the institutional theme here, since we spoke last, Goldman Sachs OTC Bitcoin options trade, it's certainly made the headlines over the past couple of weeks. Is it the trade itself that was significant, or what it means for institutional crypto trading overall? What are your thoughts behind that?
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, it caught the headlines, it caught the imagination, and I think it's the latter, as you put it. It's the shape of things to come. I think many in the market view this as the shape of things to come. That major Wall Street institutions obviously have a comfort level with crypto, with digital assets, certain digital assets in certain forms, and their client base. More importantly, their client base demands exposure to these assets, and banks such as Goldman and some of the major Wall Street houses are responding. Now, these products, they're still pretty simple, very simple exposures. You've seen the OTC trades. There is margin lending activity going on as well at some of the other major Wall Street houses. So these are the baby steps, but we think very much the shape of things to come.
Yeah, I mean, even when we think about it from a labor perspective and the talent that Wall Street firms are trying to attract, really their largest competitors are these fintech startups and those that are in the crypto space. I mean, we're just seeing the movement there outside of the trade itself. So I agree with you. I think there's a lot to come when you think about not just the application of trading, but when it comes to labor retention and attaining new talent. So with that said, what's your overview on the crypto space in general? Any other notable trends that you're watching?
Yeah, we see a number of trends out there. One, the continuing cross-fertilization between the crypto space and the traditional finance space, as you mentioned, talent moving predominantly from the traditional finance sector into the crypto sector. We see more and more investment products. Just last week, we saw Hashdex list a smart contract platforms ETF tracking the CF smart contract platforms index. We've seen Wisdom Tree list new ETPs in Europe tracking Solana, Cardano, and Polkadot. So the increasing number of avenues for investors to utilize to gain exposure to crypto, and of course this beyond Bitcoin and Ether theme that has been going on for a few months now. We're seeing that continue to gather steam.
All right, so we appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.